Hey everybody, this is Kara Crossley-Brindle with Supervisionary. I have another wonderful colleague with us today. I have Morgan with us, and she has a brilliant idea for how to streamline notes and capture everything beautifully. So before we jump into that though, I want Morgan to share more of who she is and what she does. So Morgan, thanks for being here.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be speaking with you, first of all. And yes, my name is Morgan Villegas, and I'm a licensed clinical social worker. I've also been working with Kara for the last almost year, I want to say, to to get my ACS credential. So it's really exciting. And part of the work that we've done together is really exploring what works well in terms of providing supervision. And so I'm excited to talk a little bit more about that today. Other parts of my work include working with folks around traumatic experiences. I do EMDR. I provide individual therapy in a private practice. So
Awesome. So Morgan is a wealth of knowledge. And in one of our scheduled meetings in passing, she shared this idea she had with her current supervisees, which I was like, we need to capture on video. So thank you for facing the fear of being recorded to talk about this strategy, because I think we're always looking for new tips and tricks to help our supervisees. So to kick it off, tell me what you brought to the table a couple of weeks ago saying, hey, this is working really well.
Yes. So part of the supervision process has been looking at recorded sessions of supervisees and how they provide services. And something that I noticed throughout the videos that I've been reviewing, and I have a couple of different supervisees that I'm working with, is just the amount of note taking that folks were doing. And so, as a clinician who's been in the field a lot longer, I know that it's not necessarily as important to take such copious amounts of notes. I was trying to think of ways to implement like a strategy to help with grounding and promoting like more authentic presence in terms of providing services. And so just a tiny idea that came to me was just to use a little post-it note as the exact amount of notes that you would take during a session, so that there could be more presence during the actual, clinical interaction. And it wasn't just,
Right.
just taking those copious amounts of notes. So I myself did it. Just, I started doing that myself. I don't take a lot of notes anyway, but I just wanted to see how that would feel. And it felt, like a perfect amount of space to be able to take those notes. And so I asked and invited a couple of my supervisees to do that as well. And they've had a really good result with it.
Awesome.
That it has really helped them, become more present with their clients and perhaps feel a little bit more grounded in the space. And also know that writing down every single thing, having all these interventions ready, that's not necessarily the most important part of our work, right? It is that genuine connection. And so I felt like that was really helpful in promoting that piece.
Yeah, and I just love that it's so tangible. It's like literally a tiny little square. And not only does it allow presence, which I know is most important in what you've just shared, it also allows people to streamline the note process, because you and I have talked offline about how grad school says document it didn't happen, right? That's the mantra. Sure. And yet that's leading to pages and pages or paragraph upon paragraph of notes. And so people are taking 20 minutes to write a note after a session for this very reason. So I know that when you brought this to my attention, I got super excited because I was like, okay, not only is it about presence and being in the room and helping the client, I think it also is helping us get to that 5-minute mark. That's like our goal of like write a note in 5 minutes or less, and hope that it actually keeps people from burning out on paperwork, honestly.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that that's also what's helped, is that after the session, it's not looking at pages and pages of notes and then really essentially not, even with the notes, not necessarily remembering what was said, right? I know that writing down, yes, it can jog our memory, but just having a little bit more of a streamline of a more of a summary absolutely can help with writing a succinct note after the session. Right. And then not having such an extensive paper trail if you're not keeping paper, paper file, which most of us now I think have electronic health records anyways. So my advice has been to simply shred the Post-it note. And that's really, it's a pretty straightforward process afterwards. So
yeah, so I think to clarify for our viewers,
sure.
To shred that if it's going to be transcribed into an electronic record absolutely works.
Right.
I know offline we talked about the other option is to file it away if they still have a paper file, which many people are moving away from.
Right.
But then there's also that psychotherapy kind of piece of like, here's where we put our personalized notes that wouldn't be part of a clinical record, but would still be like where did we leave off? What did we talk about with that client? Is that
Right.
kind of what you're thinking?
Yes, that's exactly right. Yep. Yep. If there's a paper
Awesome.
file, we want to keep it. If not, then simply shred that little piece of paper and, maybe not feel so burdened by all the paperwork, right? When you're writing the note in the electronic health record too. So you're
Right.
just looking at the little tiny ideas that you might have jotted down, but perhaps, you may have more of a sense of what happened in the session because your head was not focused on your paper. So,
Right, or complete sentences, or getting really caught up in that kind of minutia instead of being
Mhm.
present, much to what you talked about.
Correct.
So did the supervisees find this helpful? You said that they tried it out. Did they like it? Anything they told you about it?
Yeah, they did. I think they did find it to be helpful. Just using the post-it note as well as then really creating more concise clinical notes in the EHR, knowing essentially to focus on themes and ideas that were discussed, and also, obviously the assessment.
Mhm.
Just tightening all that up so that it felt like more of a manageable process for them. I think that yes, it did bode well for that.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah, I
yeah.
feel like most people who've seen our videos on this YouTube channel they know that I'm all about making sure that the notes are streamlined, simple, that they're not taking forever, and that clients are comfortable with what we're actually writing up. So I think a post-it is very much a great parameter. Like, it's only the one side, right? Not double sided, just one little
Correct.
side.
Correct. Yes. Yes.
That's it. That's all you get.
Right. Right. And then yes, and again, there is that piece of the documentation, and then also the presence with the client. I think that the supervisees did notice a change in their own practice too,
Mm,
and
so important.
so that felt like it was a good concrete tool that was easily implemented.
Yeah. So for our
So
green clinicians watching this video, what Morgan has alluded to twice now is that really it's about us showing up in the room. That is the most fruitful piece of therapy. That's the actual piece that shows the progress, for lack of a better word, is that's the most influential part. Not a modality, not a technique, just us showing up as human beings. So I love that you're reminding our viewers of that, because that's an important part of why we do what we do, telehealth or
yes.
in person.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for so concisely stating that, and also for helping me to be able to work with the supervisees that I do around this too. So
Absolutely. Well, I know that I find this a super wonderful tool, and I'm hoping people embrace it and just start grabbing a post-it note from here forward instead of a notebook, because I feel like that's such a bigger barrier, which is
right,
my own thing.
right.
And I think that hopefully we can give you kudos and credit for this so that people know how this works and it was your idea. So
Oh,
the
thanks.
last question I have for you, Morgan, is where can people find you if they want to talk to you about this further or work with you as a supervisor? What would that look like?
Yes, so you can absolutely reach out to me by email or by phone. Should I just go ahead and tell you what that is, or do you want to just
Sure. If you just
list
want
it?
to rattle it off, I'll put it here in
Okay,
the bottom too.
sure. My direct phone is 720-515-5377, or email is sometimes easier to get a hold of me. And it's Morgan, Morgen, at vida-idilica.com. And that's spelled vida-idilica.com.
Love it. So I'll make sure to put that here at the bottom of the video so people can
Okay.
access it and get in touch with you if they have questions or want to work with you. So I
Okay,
think this
great.
is a perfect idea that people can really embrace, whether it's in supervision or even just as clinicians in general, whether we're being supervised or not. Post-its are the way to go. So
Great.
like,
Sounds
let's do
good.
it for everyone.
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Morgan, for being here and for sharing this idea. I can't wait to see what the community thinks.
Okay. Thank you so much for having me. And yes, an honor. And thanks everyone for listening too.
Absolutely. Viewers, stay tuned for more videos. We'll see you next time.